I think before we dive deep into the topic, a little bit of context setting would be in place. And as far as this context is concerned, I'll take you right back to about 1936, when the first radio transmission happened in India. It's actually happened in the 20s, but All India Radio got set up in 1936. And right from the beginning, there was this approach that as new radio stations came up in different parts of the country, all of the content was not always internally produced. So radio, as it expanded, not only provided an opportunity for the creators from within the All India Radio system, but also programs started coming in from outside. And for those of us, the few of us who belong to my age and above, they would remember, say, programs like Binaka Geetmala. It was not an internal program, it came from outside. You had Bonvita Quiz Contest, which later went on to television as well. So these were all programs that were not really produced in-house, but came in from outside, and Akashvani provided this platform to them, which took them forward. And many of these names, Amin Sayani ji, who recently left us, these are ingrained parts of our memory. Fast forward to the 90s or so, and you will find that the same principle, the same approach in television as well. So on the television front, some of the internally produced programs, the comedy programs, the plays and the skits and the news and all of those, but then equally programs coming in from outside, people producing the programs on their own and just getting this platform, the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bunyad, Hum Log, Ye Jo Hai Zindagi, all of these programs that at least my generation grew up with, Karamchand. So these were all programs that we did not produce ourselves in Doordarshan. They came in from outside, we gave them the platform, they went forward. Now, fast forward now to the here and now. And we find that as far as Prasar Bharati is concerned, so we have a much greater number of channels available. We have a much greater number of radio stations available, broadcasting across 23 languages, 180 dialects, 12 foreign languages, 250 plus radio stations, 30 channels. Now, they still provide a very large number of platforms to the creators in India to bring in their programs. But then there is still a limitation on linear, and that is that only one program can go at a time. So you can only watch one program on one channel at one point of time. So for instance, if my friend here wants to watch the news and I want to watch, a comedy show or whatever, then only one of us can watch it. But then we also have the possibility of having multiple programs, an infinitely scalable number of programs across languages, across genres, on the digital platform, and which is why Prasar Bharati now came up with the Waves OTT. Now, why do we need to have our own Waves OTT? Why do we need our own streaming service? Very simple answer. That in addition to all of the content that I named just now, the Binaka Geetmala and the Hum Log and the Bunyad and Karamchand and everything, there is also the requirement to take a very, very vast volume of usable content to the audiences as well. Not just entertainment content, not just news content, but information content. What information content? Think back again, Nasiruddin Shah, for instance, presenting Turning Point on Doordarshan. The science program that many of us would have seen. Which channel today would run a program like that? Which OTT today would run a program like that? I don't think so. Koi bhi nahi karega. So therefore, to bring the vast volume of information content, teaching content, there's a lot of jibes that we get about Krishi Darshan. Do you know it's the longest running program anywhere in the world? It's the longest running television program anywhere in the world. And it's still going strong. And not just going strong on Doordarshan, not just has its own channel now, DD Kisan, but it also has a half to 1 hour slot on all our regional channels across all languages. It's still going strong. If the audiences were not watching it, if the audiences were not using it, then program would have shut down. 2 years, 4 years, 10 years, 50, 60 years is a long time for a program to keep running. Now, our friend Sudhir here. when we started with allowing private partnerships in an area as sensitive as news, Doordarshan and Akashvani had the monopoly on that at one point of time. But then this monopoly was also gradually relaxed. And then a number of small programs, which again, many of the people from my generation would have seen, the news tracks and The World This Week and all, they all went on to become full-fledged news channels. They went on to become full-fledged news networks in their own sense. So therefore, the question is not whether we need this whole public-private partnership and hyper-localization. It's just a matter of finding out what is the right way of doing it. And at Prasar Bharati and in Government of India, the approach has been very, very clear that we want the sector to grow. We want to provide a platform for every creator, whatever be the nature of content that they are creating. Whatever you are creating, bring it to us. Prasar Bharati will run it to the audiences and have everybody watch it. And then, of course, if the content is good, then you are king. Thank you.
Excellent, Gaurav. So, friends, let's have some great conversation and some fun, like a typical TV debate. We are squeezed about 35 minutes more to go. Okay, that's the time that I have. And mind it, this program is going on television live, so behave yourself. All right, so Gaurav, you have already raised some very vital questions that the collaboration has been happening between the private players and the government over last 35, 40 years that we have been in this space watching television. And there are now new chapters you have opened, first time in this country where a private producer is going to produce news program for Doordarshan. So I'll ask Sudhir.
I'll just mention my own journey. I was the CEO of Z Media and the editor-in-chief of Z Media for a very long time. And I could, see the picture from both sides of the table as a content producer and as a CEO, as the seller also. So you are producing content and at the same time you are also responsible for the profit and loss of the company. So here you realize that, bad content sells more than the good content. Yeah. So that was it was a difficult situation. But then I chose my own path and I thought that, I was also doing a 9 p.m. show on Z that time called DNA, which was India's #1 show for a very long time. And I thought it was primarily a family news show, a very positive show. I took that show to Aaj Tak, and as a content producer, I worked there and did the 9 p.m. show on Aaj Tak. And now, the same show with a different name, but obviously me, on the screen. My company will be producing that show now, and it will be now telecast on Doordarshan. It's going to be a new experiment. And as Gaurav said, that Doordarshan and Prasar Bharati is such a huge platform, and content producers like us, and I'm sure there are so many people in this country who can make good shows, not just in news, but news is the most sensitive part in that sector. So that show is now almost finalized and it will be on air in next couple of
Wish you all the best,
weeks.
Sudhir.
Yeah.
But I'll go back to Amla. Why such talent? Like we are talking about a few who have been partnering with the public broadcasters. Why largely the larger film world does not come around, the Bollywood come around with the Prasar Bharati to co-create something which can reach to the masses?
Okay, I was hoping you were going to ask me about education, but I'll answer that. I'll answer that first. I think there's an elephant in the room. There's a huge standoff between theatre and streaming platforms. All the big industry are struggling in that space, how to make things work, and by not addressing it, you'll never get them on board. So everyone's struggling right now to see there's a current, any change, any technology disruption creates a huge current vortex, and the small players have all been drowned and the others are struggling to survive. So let's see where it takes them. But unless we address that, I don't think they're going to be... the stars are different. I'm not just talking about the stars. The stars will survive. It's the rest that need addressing. Yeah. But we are preparing the future generation. You see, any change is difficult to solve each problem in the current scenario, but preparing the future generation to be the change is much more productive, satisfying, and it's more visionary. And that's my cup of tea. At Annapurna Studios, they have beautiful facilities and a lovely campus. And we have Annapurna College of Film and Media, where we're preparing the younger generation really for 10 years in the future. So they are the streaming partners of the future, and we're hoping to create the future-ready industry from where we are.
So very soon we'll have one Disney in India also, right? Mr. Marwa, you have been doing this work for many, many years. Several people that I worked with or I hired, they all passed out from Marwa Studio. So what is your suggestion for this public-private partnership, and what an educational initiative that you have done will help achieve all this?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. What a pleasure to be here this afternoon with all of you on this beautiful, well-designed program. Let me tell you, if you're not aware of, the first public-private action, I must say, in India is nothing but Noida Film City. And Noida Film City, which is now a 100 acres complex, 75 acres outdoor, 25 acres indoor, 16 studios. And from 16 studios, 350 channels are being broadcast to 162 countries, 24/7. There are about 17,000 people who are working there in 3 shifts of 8 hours each. And the cascading effect is that approximately 150,000 people, they are earning their bread because of this film city. And yours faithfully is the founder of Noida Film City. And when I talk about, it's not only the media and entertainment industry which we are promoting, simultaneously we are also promoting the tourism, because we have already counted a footfall of 90 million people to Noida Film City, and around about 3 million people to Marwa Studio itself from 156 countries of the world. Well, when we talk about content, it's very important to have an infrastructure ready. Then only you can talk about content. And that's the reason, and I'm happy that Marwa Studio has so far churned out 4,500 television programs for more than 50 channels. We've been associated with around about 100 different feature films, around about 5,000 training films, and my production company has made something like 3,600 short films, and we have given opportunity to around about 30,000 media professionals from 145 countries of the world. When it comes to creation of the content, of the manpower, it's very important. I'm thankful to our Honorable Prime Minister, because he wanted to have a film university in this country, and that status has been granted to us. AAFT, University of Media and Arts, now is the first film, television and media university, Noida, as well as now in Raipur in another 27 acres. And it's an extension of what we are doing in Noida Film City. So far, we've been able to churn out 35,000 media professionals in more than 75 different creative courses, which are all associated, inclined, or a part of film, television, and media industry. And all of them are doing very well by the grace of God. So this is the kind of infrastructure we have provided. And once we have all these things are ready, it's not only that I'm serving my own studios, but I'm serving the media and entertainment industry as a whole.
Excellent. I'll come back to you, William, while a lot was spoken about you while we were sitting down. So tell us, what should we do to create this partnership to the next level, and what your international experience tells us?
So, you know, I guess you're referencing the prior panel where Raj pointed out Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. you know, that was still the largest and most successful foreign film in the United States in terms of box office, and we did 25 years ago. And, you know, the fact that no foreign language film has done better than that over the years is shocking to me. I think, you know, part of what we did was to take some very good story concept, initially written by a US writer, adapt it to Chinese, go back and forth. We did this again with a film I developed and did in Hong Kong called Infernal Affairs, which was later remade as The Departed. You know, that was the other way. Chinese writers, foreign input from writers, creating stories that have universal appeal in terms of themes, you know, emotionality, family issues, ambition, revenge. You know, there are themes that are universal, and you look for those in stories that'll travel from you know, one country to another. We made the number one. My company Global Gate makes a lot of local language films around the world, and we make them in Europe and Latin America and Asia. And, you know, we took one film, we made the number one film of all time in Mexico. We've now made that into films in 8 countries with local actors, directors, Omar Sy in France, you know, big budget, mass market films, and they travel outside. You look for universal themes. And so, you know, that's the secret, I think, for here in India. You've had some collaboration with the West. Slumdog Millionaire was pointed out, and then some of Dev Patel's films are in that direction. But a lot of the ones that have been the most successful were local, very authentic stories, RRR and Bahubali and others that you know have traveled. You look at the things that are on streamers, you know, the Delhi crime. You know, these kinds of stories are very authentic to local people, but they have universal things that go outside. Collaboration with foreigners in some cases for high production values. But India's got production values. You're very good with that. And you've got incredible talent. You've got incredible source of stories. And I think just to try to maybe combine so that the structure works a little bit better overseas for international audiences will help things go farther. If you look at what other countries have done to sort of develop, you know, their own industries, you have great support in Korea, where, you know, they have a lot of government incentives for local content. You know, you have in France, you know, the local production development. They have there, you know, funds that go to support the local industry and local talent development in Canada with Telefilm, that they give money to companies who use, you know, 80% or more local talent for their films. And you can do that on a local basis here in India with all the second and sort of third tier cities. Try to develop those out, put some infrastructure in place for those for production with education, you know, local schools, and that'll help develop the local areas here in India become more competitive. And as you've got huge scale in this country, you've got a large home-based market. And that's why the U.S. is so strong, that they've got a large domestic market against which you can scale and create a higher budget and get from that production value that'll travel around the world. So India's got all the elements to make content that'll work around the world, even at the local basis, even though it's fragmented by, you know, region and language here. You still have large enough segments in those different regions to appeal outside, because Europe's bigger than most countries around the world, even at a local regional level. And so I think, you know, that kind of overall cohesive strategy and the things that, you know, Prasar Bharati is doing are amazing. People, I have a lot of old friends and new here. You know, I launched the Sony channels here 30 years ago and put that whole team together. We didn't know anything about India. We didn't speak the language, but I watched Z and I thought, we can do better than that. And so we, you know, brought in Jackie Schroff, you guys know the story, and some local partners. I found all those guys, put the plan together, started taking, you know, buying up libraries from Shimaru, you know, and all of that, and fixing the films so they weren't so scratchy and noisy, you know, popping on the screen. And with that, within 2 years after launching, we became number one. Of course, that woke up Rupert Murdoch to come after us with Star and all of that. But we were number one for a while I was there. And so, you know, it was really about taking some foreign sort of sensibility. You know, taking TV shows where at the end, you know, of the Indian shows, it was so long with the credits. We would start playing the next show and promoting the next show while the credits were going to get people to stay and come through. You know, just things that we do overseas that we brought to India for the first time that I think helped, you know, take those channels to the next level. You can do that with OTT. You can do that with local content. Thank you.
Awesome. So according to you, what Samir just pointed out before, that the poverty pawn is gone, and now the new age regional stories will show up. So before I come to Mr. Gupta for the technological backup that we need for all that, I would like to pick up some brain from my colleague Sachin here. Sachin, where are the regional stories being played? And congratulations, it just got announced that we'll have Marathi OTT also.
I'm very glad to know that. Mr.
So more
Sheila,
OTT means more creative content and thus
Absolutely.
more opportunity for all of us, right?
All of us, not only Marathi, I think it should be for all regional language, because according to me, there is no such as regional cinema. It is Indian, that language cinema.
Excellent. Well said.
Let us not differentiate people who speak different languages. We speak only one language, and that is content. I mean, whatever songs in whichever language we may be singing, but what we are doing is playing music. That should be our approach, according to me. And even while doing, I must congratulate Waves OTT. I mean, Prasar Bharati has decided or already has started the process of Waves OTT.
Rituparna, so Bengal, and now I'll be a little biased because I worked in ABP for 20 years, so I'll give a little bit more time to you. Explain us why Bengal, which is such a big cultural hub, okay, best stories have been written there, are, whether you look at music, stories, movies, all emanated from Calcutta. Where does it stand today in the current OTT platform business, and how you suggest that those content should go up in the overall consumption pattern in the country?
Well, yeah. Bengal, as I think I will actually second Sachinji's opinion that nothing is regional. It's absolutely like an Indian language. And I have produced one film with Sharmila Tagore, which she made a comeback after 14 years of hiatus. And so I actually position that film as a global film and not only Bengal. So to answer your question, I think Bengal is positioning it very well, and Bengal has been creating such great, lovely stories and lovely productions, and Bengal has it all the strength is coming from Bengal. But at the same time, I feel that, a certain amount of collaboration is needed to actually substantiate Bengal's content and market. So as we were talking about the international collaborations and everything, so I believe that Bengal needs a little bit of a more spotlight here to get the grounds little uplifted, because I think little finance is coming little shy on Bengal. Otherwise, by the content process or anything to do with talent, skill, or matter of anything to do with bigger creativity, I think Bengal actually badges the best certificate. But I think the financial part, whatever we were talking about, I think Waves is coming up with such a great Gauravji. You will actually appreciate this. I am coming up with a film recently called Bela. Bela was one of the iconic radio personalities, and I'm playing Bela, and the biopic is coming very soon. So we are talking about some great radio personalities from the olden days to give some insight to the audience about what actually the radio service was that time, and a woman coming up with certain amount of courage to do a radio program with a lot of ladies and start it up. So I believe that Bengal is a big player in the market, but I think to substantiate the whole financial part and the collaboration part, Bengal needs to have a little bit of more strength there. And I think then, I think they are the best players in the global market, from the Satyajit Rays to Ritik Ghatak to Mrinal Sen to today's Kaushik Ganguly, Srijit Mukherjee, everyone. I think Bengal has got the best place with content and creativity. But yes, the boost, the collaboration part has to come. And another thing, I believe that, you know, the prime directors or producers are getting a little bit of a high line there. But the independent directors, producers, and independent production houses are not getting that kind of a bandwidth to showcase their films in the OTT circle. So I believe Waves will give an opportunity to them, because a lot of big players in the market are getting the, you know, sort of the place. But I think the other independent production houses, the independent directors or documentary makers or filmmakers whom I am supporting from my production house, of course I can vouch for that.
It's a big struggle.
But yes, but that everybody is saying that yes, there is a big market. People can go and sell their film, talk about it. They're consuming films, but absorbing this kind of talent. But when it comes to the real play, I think there is a lot of difference between the cup and the mouth, and the tea.
So now this requires a technological support for all of us to reach maximum number of people. That's when Pankaj comes, please.
Yeah, also
Pankaj, so
funds.
and also, you know, somebody just plugged in, Amazon did an amazing job for ABP, how our actual downtime went down like anything for creating any content. So great story. You can tell us, all of us, how the public-private partnership in OTT, as well as the content creators and educators here, can benefit from your platforms.
Namaste and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pankaj Gupta. I lead the public sector business for AWS India. First of all, this subject is very close to my heart. As Indians, we've all seen India has a history of building some of the world's largest population scale platforms, whether it is Aadhaar, UPI, CoWIN, Arogya Setu, GSTN. But the best part, if you see, all these platforms are proven for India's scale, complexity, and diversity. India talks about Make in India, make for the world. Similarly, one platform, before I talking about the OTT, I want to talk about Government e-Marketplace. I'm not sure how many of you know Government e-Marketplace. This is today the world's second largest B2B marketplace with more than $50 billion of gross mercantile value. The reason I'm talking about this platform is that till now, a lot of small-time traders from tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, and small villages were not able to participate in the public procurement. But Government e-Marketplace today has changed the paradigm, because of which now these small-time traders are able, more than 2 million plus small-time traders are able to participate from the confines of their home in the public procurement. Now, taking the same example of making such population scale platforms inclusive, equitable, accessible, Waves OTT has created again a paradigm. In my sense, Waves OTT is to entertainment what highways is to say connectivity. Now, talking about Waves OTT, while Gaurav Dwivedi ji spoke about, in my sense, it is not really only about content. For me, this is a tool for innovation, experimentation, social governance, and even social good. I'm not sure how many of you know today, as Waves OTT, beyond the content that they provide, which is multilingual content, regional content, I'm sure that is great, available in more than 22 languages. But the best part, the way it is looking at bridging the divide between the urban and rural India. If you see today, Waves OTT provides also online shopping. They connect with something called Open Network for Digital Commerce. It's a B2B e-commerce portal. Now today, sitting at home, if tomorrow I want to buy something from a small village in India, I can place an order directly. The second thing is, skilling and education is a very, very important thing. We have more than 9,000 ebooks available on the Waves OTT platform. And the best part is, people can now, the learners with their continuous learning, lifelong development, it is kind of changing the paradigm from typical classroom-based learning to a more open, collaborative, and on-demand learning. And now talking about agriculture, real India lives in villages. India is an agrarian economy. Gauravji spoke about Krishi Darshan. But what happens now, as we are looking at building this content more immersive, engaging, and interactive? Can I tell a farmer, real-time advisory services, what is the right time to sow a particular crop? Can he sell this maybe sitting here in somewhere in the village of Haryana? Can he sell the product in Kanyakumari? That is called farm to fork. All these paradigms, I think, beyond the OTT as far as a platform for social good. So in my sense, while beyond just about the content, it is about the impact story for India. And it has been a privilege, Gauravji, to really partner with you, building this OTT platform from the scratch.
Fantastic. I think Waves is going to change everything. Sudhir, you wanted to say a last word on your new program, and then we'll go to Gauravji.
I think about the program I have already told, but I think we were discussing about the OTT. So I came up with a new definition for this OTT, as we all know that it's over the top. But I think it could be open, transparent, and trustworthy. That should be the real definition of any OTT platform. Now, how do a public broadcaster or somebody like Prasar Bharati come into action and do whatever they need to do? So I think it needs two M's. One is muscle, and second is money. And in both ways, I think there's nobody bigger than Prasar Bharati. Muscle to supervise whatever is happening in the country in terms of content. There are two kinds of contents: good content, bad content. And I think it's everybody's responsibility to promote good content. Second is to protect good producers, to protect, people like who are sitting here. It's their responsibility to promote us, to protect us. And secondly, money to pump. How do they promote us? They have the money to basically pump in good programming. So I think it's very important. Like in news channels also, we have seen there is good content, there is bad content.
No, I think the point was just made. It's a principle of economics, actually. Bad money driving good money out of circulation. Similarly, bad content driving good content out of circulation. So yes, absolutely correct on that. But the point here, essentially, the sum and substance of what we discussed, to me, what it means is that there is a platform which is now available. DD Free Dish was a platform that we made available, which hugely grew the satellite TV market in India. Very few people in this room probably are users of DD Free Dish, but it is India's largest set-top box network. It is completely free to air, no entry barrier, no subscription, no monthly, annual, no charges at all. Plug and play completely. And I'll name a channel like, I don't know, say Dangal, for instance. It's one of India's biggest channels.
That's true.
It's one of India's biggest channels, one of India's most profitable channels. Bhasha kya hai uski? Bhojpuri. So hyperlocal content, good content, and going to the masses. And what is the platform that they first came to? The platform which grew them was Doordarshan, was Prasar Bharati, was Free Dish. And similarly, in terms of waves, in terms of the OTT, this is what we intend to do. It's a completely free to register. There is some content which is freemium, of course, but largely free, because as public service broadcaster, we do not want to have any entry barriers of any sort. It's not a walled garden. Anybody can access that content. And of course, the fact that from the perspective of technological sovereignty also, it is important that the public broadcaster and at least the major broadcasters should be on a platform which is developed, owned and controlled from within India. If the official perspective, if the correct news, if the correct information is to be made available, then no private entity from India or abroad should have the opportunity or the ability to turn that switch off. That switch should be in our hands.
Excellent. Thank you, panelists. And very soon we'll have our own Lionsgate and Warner Brothers in India. Next 10 years is ours. India has a bright future.